stepping away from all the courses I've been teaching at openandclear.com to talk to you about today's popular totem that is often used and a lot of people relate with. Let's talk about the bear. This is a beautiful, wonderful symbol, and we just want to remember that the bear has to do with, regardless of what it is the spiritual universe calling you, teaching you something, and that you can figure out guidance from any sort of symbol like the bear. So let's just go ahead and break it down, get into the symbolic representation of the bear.
Subscribe.
So I have all these pictures of these brown bears. Of course, there's black bears, there's polar bears, there's all different variations of bears. And no, koala isn't one. Panda bear, you got panda bear. And as much as you want to use these symbols as like when you visit the zoo, it's of course not the same. You can take these symbols in the sense that you relate to them as your personal totem, or you can take these symbols as in you just saw them. You were at the park, national park somewhere, and you saw a bear, maybe a cute little one like this, Winnie the Pooh over here. Just recognize that if it's happening all the time, then it might be diluted and not actually calling to you in the same sense. But when it stands out, you're like, holy crap, I just saw the bear. What does that mean? And you're willing to learn the message. You're willing to receive what it might be. Now, remember, signs and symbols is also callings and confirmations. Okay, callings being guidance. It's guiding and calling you to do something, or confirming that what you are doing is the right path, or where you are is the right path. So take a look at the colors and the types of bears. We want to break it down. What does a bear, what's something common that we know about a bear? Like hibernating. They're very protective over their children, and they like to hunt fish, right? You got salmon. Okay. So if we take different things that we know about them, and that they're not very personable, you can't be friends and housemates with a with a bear. So what does it mean to you? What does it represent for you? So looking at it, as far as this hibernating thing about bears, is yes, they're very big, right? They're very big, they're very hairy. This is not specific about maybe a label you have in your community about there being a certain type of person that is a bear, but in the sense of, which is cute and adorable, but in that what it is, as in who you are, that you might be kind of a hermit, isolated. You might have a time that it's okay to step away from society, step away from community, get off your social media. Keep watching me though, but in that sense of maybe it's calling you to hibernate from society, to step back and take some rest for yourself, take some isolation for yourself, especially if you're having children. That's something popular with, as far as bears, hibernation is the time in which they're raising infants. So you definitely see that in people as well, that you take the time off, get off of work, go isolate yourself. Maybe it's calling you to do that, or that you might have had an idea about doing that it is confirming with you, okay? So remember that we're talking about confirmations and or callings, signs and symbols. So a big thing about it, very being protective. You might feel protective over your nieces, nephews, your children, whatever it might be, other friends, and that it is a representation of that nurturer, that, say, even the man or woman, it makes no difference of who you are, but what is it calling to you to do is really the question. Who you to be, that these are inside, trying to pull it out. The spiritual universe wants you to become it more. It's trying to show you to become it more. It's a reflection of what it is. So sharing that with loved ones. So as far as recognizing that there is an aspect of your intelligence with this bear that is very deliberate, focused, controlled in the sense of determined, like no fear. Like there's, yes, of course they have fear, but you're very sure of yourself, taking the steps you need, knowing where you're going. Maybe it's confirming that, hey, be confident on your path, what you're doing right now. You're in the right direction, you're doing the right things. Or maybe it's telling you to get more confident about it. Okay, get more direct, get more sure about where you're going, and maybe it's hunting berries or fish. So knowing that aspect of yourself, knowing that, being confident in your unique self, being that unique self along with who you are. A bear is not trying to be a swan, right? A bear is not trying to be a flamingo. For some reason I can only think of peacocks. Fancy birds. A bear is being a bear. Be a bear. Maybe it is that sense of standing up for yourself. A bear is something that you see when it is in fear, that it stands up for itself. And as much as, of course, I don't want you to hurt anybody, but protect yourself. You know, protect yourself. Stand up for yourself. Be strong and confident in, this is who I am. And I'm going to be who I am. And if you don't like it, you don't get out of my life. You don't need to be in my life. You go do your own thing. You know, you giraffe. I'll be a bear. You be a giraffe. Or whatever you are. I'm going to be who I am, right? So it's that sense of walking confidently, walking purpose. And that might be what it is about. Knowing, say, the purpose. If you know yourself, you essentially know your purpose in life, who you are. And just think of it as calling to help you to understand what that is. And what about a bear is within me? Like, where does this come out? So, now, with spirituality, we want to take this in a sense that perhaps your judgments have been exacerbated. That we want to recognize that, yes, you might have been determined about what you believe is right, and you're holding your friends to it. You're, I can't believe you did that. And you're not actually going into the sense of forgiveness. So let's recognize that a bear also represents the fact that they accept what is them. They accept who is them. Kind of like the birds flock together thing, but these aren't flocking. So accepting your pack, accepting your friends, and of course if that's calling to you, that's something that's very profound. Now, there is the male aspect of a bear, that they just pretty much go around impregnating female bears and then going on their own, doing their own thing, not caring about the family or anything. They just come back just to impregnate. Now, maybe that has something to do with what you're doing in life, and or maybe it's calling you to take that sort of perspective. Now, of course, I don't get called in that. I don't see bears that often. It's not one of my totems. But in the sense of maybe you're that way. Maybe it's confirming to you that that's kind of your perspective, your way. So if you're, maybe you're a female and have, female, sorry guys, sorry ladies. Maybe you have, you're independent in raising your children. And this is something about bears, is that the female is always raising the children without the husband or without the other. So recognize that maybe if this is happening in your life, maybe it's because you're just a representation of the bear. And I know you might not like it, or you might like it. Take it as a confirmation. I'm not here to condone it or condemn it, but a confirmation to own this is a calling. This is a calling to really bring up those beautiful little bears. Do they call them pups? I don't think so. Cubs, duh. Okay, cubs. And raising them as your the wisdom that you have. And that's another thing about bears, is the ancient wisdom. It's a totem that's been around for eons, and that really recognizing what a bear is does have that real ancient wisdom about it, that maybe it's guiding you, and especially in dreams. If you see it in a dream, or a bear, or any sort of bears, take in other factors of the dream. Remember that something about it might be ancient wisdom, say a lesson in it that it's trying to show you and reveal that there's knowledge outside of your consciousness, outside of your awareness, that you are being called to understand, being called to recognize with that. So now, if it is entirely just guiding you to somewhere, guiding you to do something, or maybe you see a bear, what activities is it partaking in? Is it on the computer or something? You know, maybe it's a sense of guidance in directing you to be in that place, owning it, and being absolutely sure of yourself, as well as taking a sense of there is more wisdom in this activity than you have thought before. There's more to it than you're willing to see on the surface. So if it's you're a bear at work, or you see a bear doing the same thing you do every single day, maybe there's more at work than you're willing or have been willing to completely recognize and see. So remember that it is a confident, sure thing, and all of these symbols, every symbol, every sign and symbol is always the holy spiritual universe trying to guide you to your divine understanding, your awakening of who you honestly are, and you have to go through the complete knowing and accepting yourself in order to awaken to that reality.